Oh man, so you got Phantom up 2.18% here on a Saturday, marking six straight green days in a row on a really nice recovery from some of the bottoms. And it feels like a long time ago that we had Phantom at about $1.03 and everybody was losing their minds. But it just goes to show you how quick things start to recover. So a good Saturday here. Phantom up a little bit, Bitcoin holding flat at 0.21%, but I've seen something in the charts which has me a little bit worried again, because if Bitcoin cannot break this level, I'm going to show you how precarious the level is on Phantom and what that could mean to the downside. We've got to be prepared. In and amongst all this euphoria, the market's feeling a lot better. We need to be prepared for all different eventualities to make sure we're sophisticated and we know if this happens, this is what we're going to do. If this happens, this is what we're going to do. So if you want to see these key levels, make sure you hit up the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Watch to the very end. These videos are brought to you by me. So if you like my perspectives, if you like how I break down technical analysis, if you like how I look at the fundamentals or my viewpoints on psychology of investments and trading, make sure you consider checking out our member-only live streams. There we're going to have 3 weekly member live streams where you guys can ask me questions. I can critique your portfolios. We can look at your favorite coins. We can do some tokenomics research or any other questions you guys have around some of your crypto-related investments. So consider doing that. Jump into the pinned comment below. You'll see the link to our Discord server, and from there, you'll figure out how to get signed up onto our member live streams. Right, let's get straight here into the charts, because as you can see, guys, it's a pretty interesting day for Bitcoin. We're hovering at 0.17%, but more importantly than that, you can see that yesterday we started trying to break out, right? We tried to break out from 44,500 and we got rejected. We got the rejection here at 45,500. And could this now be marking, if I head over to the 4-hourly chart, the 5th time we tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times now we're hanging there. Technically, we've not got the full rejection just yet. For me, I want to, if this falls down below 43.5, that's this peak here, you know, I'll give it enough room for it to say come down and retest and then go again. But if we start curling below 43.5, then it's a clear rejection and we're going to have to start rebuilding either all the way down and head back up, or find some support on the way to then go back and test 44.5. That would be very disappointing here on Bitcoin, which has tried so hard to break this level. And we gave it the benefit of the doubt leading up to March 16th, right? March 16th, we gave it the benefit of the doubt, say, okay, fine. Before March 16th, where we got the FOMC meeting and the first rate hike, we'll accept it, right? You want some volatility. But after this period, you can see here, this is where the rate hike was introduced. We had a good move to the upside. Stocks are looking good. Risk is starting to rotate back on. So it'd be good to see this trend continue. Obviously, Bitcoin is only reacting to the wider market right now. And you can see the wider market is just starting to slow its rate of growth right now. In the pre-market, you can see the Dow Jones are up 0.5, 0.5 again on the S&P, and just flat here on NASDAQ. So they're not hugely green, and that's explaining why Bitcoin is just holding its position for now, waiting to see what happens going into next week. Again, Ukraine and Russia tensions continue to weigh on the market. Oil prices are still in the focus. You can see oil prices just flat here. We're not getting massive growth on the oil prices, but it's not equally not falling massively to the downside. Remember, if oil starts to inflect down, markets will rejoice on that news. Markets will start to move to the upside, and then we can see some upwards movement from Bitcoin. So that's what we want to see from Bitcoin, right? We need to push beyond 44.5. And we know we've covered off that if that happens, we can start working towards our technical price target of 52,800. But what's the downside case? Well, the downside case is we get rejected and we start working our way down, right? We need to create a higher low and somehow rotate our way back up and try again. But if we do get rejected and start seeing this action here, then we have to start looking at some of our altcoins and saying, hang on a second, are we in the position to take that move to the downside? And the one particular one here is Phantom, right? So we're looking at Phantom here. We can see if we head over to the daily and start with the good news first, this is 6 green candles in a row. And this is, you know, indicating a really nice move here for Phantom. A nice 6 green days in a row, picking us up from our lows at 103, 104 level. We're now sitting comfortably, right? We're sitting at 137. Now, if I bring us across to the hourly, you guys will remember that a couple of days ago, I was really worried about how we're hovering precariously at the bottom of our wedge. And I continue to remain worried about that. Now, this rally in the interim really did help because this took us to 141, 142. And the reason that was really important was we got above this pivot point here, right? We managed to rotate above this pivot point here. But we were unable, you can see where we got rejected, to break this pivot point here. This one here, was the one where we got rejected from. You can see this is exactly at the same point we got rejected. Okay, so the next level we need to get above is 147, and I continue to maintain unless we head above 147, this pattern can still start to rotate to the downside. Okay, what I don't want to do is I don't want to lose this, and the reason I don't want to lose that is, remember, if we head over to the file, it might be easier to view here. These are bear flags. We have a move to the downside, we enter a bear flag, and we continue to move to the downside. And I'm just worried that we're having the same. Move to the downside, a long consolidation, and then a move to the downside again. And the only way we can get rid of that is to get above 147 and continue to the upside, right? We need to create a big U shape instead of having a bear flag. And if and when this starts turning into a U shape, then we can be less worried about this. But the problem is Bitcoin is getting rejected at that level. So it's really bad timing, because if Bitcoin gets rejected, we know that based on trends, all coins will move at the same rate as Bitcoin, if not a multiple. So if Bitcoin has a couple of red days getting rejected from that level, will this fall from the bottom, and will that bear flag start to play out? That's what I want to see over the next few hours. Now, hopefully Bitcoin can just ignore it. Hopefully Bitcoin can push through 44.5, or have a small inflection to the downside and then break through it, right? Just have a small inflection to the downside, reset RSIs, because the RSIs are very overheated here on Bitcoin. Okay, so just come down a little bit, maybe even down to 43.019, and then quickly break through with volume. If that happens, then we can still maintain good on Phantom, and we can still hold somehow within this pattern, even if we have to come back down, test it from the bottom side, come back in, and then work our way up, right? So that's what we're looking out for now. We don't want to see this bear flag play out, which I made clear in my last few videos. I know sometimes it's not fun to look at the bearish situation. We want to keep this moving to the upside. But it's important to know where the charts are going, learn how to read the charts, and understand what's going on, and face reality, right? We've got to face reality. That's the truth. Now, let's head on over to the Fear and Greed Index, because we got some great news here. We can see Fear and Greed Index hitting 51. That is neutral territory, and that marks another 4-point increase from the day before, which was sat at 47. Now, if we head over to the charts, we can see now this starts to get us back to the levels where we briefly touched these levels earlier this year, right? In 2022, we've touched these levels. At the highest level we've seen in 2022 is indeed 50. We're back at those levels now. Now the question is, can we continue higher? And obviously, if Bitcoin breaks out from 44.5 and starts heading towards that 52,700 mark from our technical target, we will start to see Fear and Greed Index start to head back to the upside. Remember that if a lot of you haven't been in crypto for a while, you will know that if those of you who have been in crypto for a while, will know that when we're at 71, 74, 77, the FOMO is real. Everybody's talking about crypto. Your neighbor's talking about crypto. The person mowing your lawn is talking about crypto. Your taxi driver's talking about crypto. Everybody is saying, when do I get into crypto? When do I get into crypto? You're getting messages from random uncles like, how do I get into crypto? Yeah, that's your bull market. That's when we start doing our selling, right, guys? So right now, we still got work to do, but that window is shutting, right? That when the FOMO comes in and the green candles start coming in, there's less and less buying that I'm doing. I'm not buying. Now I'm looking at the market. Now I'm letting the green do its work, and I should just have trust in my allocations to say go. And then if there's other pullbacks, which inevitably there will be, we'll collect those to the downside in terms of buying those pullbacks. Really important that you don't have green candles. You need the market to be roaring and all the FOMO to be coming in and green markets. You're not a sophisticated investor. You need to have high conviction. You need to be buying on pullbacks. And if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, that should be drummed into guys buy now. Right, good news here. Shout out Crypto Clay for posting this. Wake up Phantom, and Phantom is on ESPN. That's their sponsorship of the Tipapaldi brothers on Phantom, which is really good. So it's really nice to see a project which we've been monitoring for a long time getting a bit of mainstream attention. That's always good. How much ROI that has, we don't know, but it's always good for they're progressing in certain means. More interestingly for me, and shout out to Phantom News for sharing this on Twitter, is the split of projects on Phantom and how the TVL is divided. And what really stood out for me was that no one clear project takes the big chunk of TVL. It's nicely spread out. And this decentralization, let's call it, is really powerful, because it means any of these projects can have something happen to it, or have some nefarious activity go on or whatever, and it's not going to bring the system down, right? Like, even if you look at the most important AMM on the index on Phantom, Spooky Swap, one of the best out there, right? The best UI, best interface. Everybody says it who uses it. When people use Spooky Swap, they don't use anything else. Only holds 13.4% of all the total value locked on Phantom. And this is brilliant, right? Because if this fell off or something happened, it would hurt and you'd feel it, but the whole system wouldn't fall down. And that's really interesting. You look at something like Solidly, which people are so worried about, that built up, at one point they were sitting at 1 billion in total value locked. They're not commanding a big percentage now of total value locked since that started to fall to the downside. So this is a good way to keep everything decentralized. Hang on a second, no one project is bigger than the whole network. Phantom is bigger than all these single projects. If any of them fell to the lay side, we can get over it, and that's more important. Now, another thing I wanted to share with you guys is this, because now for the May meeting, the May Fed meeting, the FOMC meeting, we're expecting our second rate hike. We've got 72.7% of the market, 3/4 of the market have now priced in a double rate hike. This is really impressive. So we're seeing the market still doing pretty well. The market is doing well. We're rallying. We're having green days. And in the background, traders, investors have priced in a 0.5% rate hike, which is basically saying to Jerome Powell, go for it, mate. Go for it. Increase it by 0.5%. We heard your comments. We heard your letter. Now go and do it. So this is really interesting, because one of the fears coming up into the May meeting on May the 4th, we were worried around whether there would be a surprise 0.5% rate hike, right? That was one of the factors I had in my post-it notes to say, would this shock markets to the downside and ruin some of the momentum we're building? Well, if we priced it in already and the markets are holding at that level, then there's no way Jerome Powell can rug pull us unless he wants to do a triple rate hike, right? Or a quadruple rate hike. That's up to him. But so that's really interesting that we've managed to price that in. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, obviously, that's priced in now. That can change between now and the meeting. So if the market unprices that in and then Jerome Powell does a double rate hike, then that's an issue. So we'll continue to monitor this as we get closer to the May 4th meeting. We still got plenty of time to be in rally mode until then. So good news, good clear runway for the markets. And that's ultimately what's exciting right now. We've got a clear runway. We've not got any major obstacles. We've not got any major worries on the mind right now. Obviously, the Russia-Ukraine issue tends to be there, continues to be there, and can escalate any given time and shock markets. But everything else from an inflation, macroeconomic, all these FUDs are pretty much out the way. And now, if you remember, guys, months ago, I was saying, you just could not find a good piece of news for crypto, right? When Bitcoin was sitting at 32 and 33, and it was just really painful, and fear and greed index was at 10, and nobody wanted to talk about crypto. Nobody was watching videos. At that point, you'd come onto a website like CoinDesk, and you just could not find one piece of news about crypto, not one company adopting it, not one country talking about it, no executive orders, just nothing. But now things are starting to look much better. You've got more positive articles coming out about Bitcoin every single day. We've got, even Janet Yellen saying positive things about crypto. You had obviously the Biden executive order. Things are starting to positive. And trust me, as things get better, as fear and greed index starts to climb, more and more companies will be coming out saying they've got crypto on their balance sheet. More countries will be coming out saying they want to adopt crypto, and then that FOMO is going to be sky high. And that's what we need to wait for. We need to continue to do our buying in the pullbacks when people are not interested. That's the way we're going to get the best prices, and then we let the market the rest of the work. So there you have it, guys. There is your Saturday update on Bitcoin and Phantom. If you appreciate this blend between technicals and fundamentals with a bit of sprinkled blend analysis, as some people like to say in the comments, smash up the likes and subscribe. Don't forget, videos are brought to you by myself. Check out the pinned comment, head over into our Discord. You'll find out more about our members only live streams. You get access to our small group of mentored live streams, let's call it, where you can ask questions, you can post any question you want, and we'll cover those off on the live. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.